Greetings. I just feel like I need to talk about some things. There's a lot going on in the world today, a lot of pain, a lot of unrest, and I can't speak of the experience of being a Black person. I'm not going to try, but I will speak with a depth of compassion. I can't speak for white people either, to be honest. I don't really identify to that. I am Italian through and through, and anyone who's Italian will let you know that they're Italian. Growing up in an Italian household, I'll be 100% transparent. Racism was present, prejudice was present. In fact, if you were not Italian, there was something to be said about whatever culture you were. And growing up in that environment, I always felt in myself, that's not right. That's not right. And, going out into the world, there's these belief systems that were in there and programming that was in there that I had to unravel within myself. I had to look deep in myself and be radically honest with myself to understand that even though those are the things I was raised with, it didn't mean it was right. It didn't feel right, and it wasn't right in the world. There are many different cultures, many different colors, many different shades of black, shades of white, shades of brown, shades of red. There's just a variety. And the problem that we are witnessing in the United States right now isn't a United States problem. It's a worldwide problem. It's a humanity problem. It is a humanity problem. And if we have learned nothing from COVID-19, I think the one thing we can pull away from it is that as a collective, we had to look at this problem together. As a collective, we had to look at COVID-19 and we had to pull all the experts together to look at this one problem as a worldwide issue. And in that, we saw so many different perspectives and opinions, different versions of science and different versions of philosophy and, wear a mask, don't wear a mask, wear gloves, don't wear gloves, hug, don't hug. It's still going, isn't it? There's just a buffet of opinions, a buffet of perspectives. But together we're looking at one problem. We are never going to think the same. We're never going to look the same. We're never going to agree on exactly the same things. And we're not supposed to. World peace is meant to bring all that in and look at it as a collective. Look at the problem as a collective. I have pain inside me when I watch vegan and vegetarian documentaries and I see animals getting tortured and killed. To think that human beings, getting killed for the mere color of their skin, and of course, whatever else paints the picture, it hurts me inside. Not because of my color, but because I'm human. My soul hurts. I watch these videos and I've been crying just watching some of these videos and the pain. And let the fire burn. And I don't mean burn the buildings and burn the cars. I mean, let the fire burn from inside. Let it burn. Burn away the belief systems, the separation, the opinions, the anger, the hurt, the pain that runs through each of our bloodlines. Each of our bloodlines. We all have something inside of us to heal. That's the truth. And I've had experiences where I've been in other places in the world where I feared for my life because of the color of my skin. I've been to other places in the world where I almost died because of the color of my skin. But I got to leave. Those are experiences that I can think of as memories. I don't live every day like that. And no one should have to live every day like that. No one. No one. It's a humanity issue. All of us have to stand together and look at this as a human issue. You know, I dated a man who was Black for a couple years, who I loved dearly, but there were members in my own family that didn't speak to me because of that. I used to live in Australia, and we together, him and I went to go visit, and I never realized how racist a place could be because we were together. Like, that's painful. That's painful. It's not okay. It isn't. It's not okay. And these experiences have given me just a taste. You know, I was so uncomfortable in that experience with him, but for him, that was his life. It was normal. That shouldn't be normal. That should not be normal. And, you know, the one thing that I learned about the Black culture is how they come together as a family, and they bring food, and you know, they sit around the table and they laugh and they connect and they eat. And as an Italian, I can appreciate that, because as Italians, we sit around a table and we have all the food, and we laugh and we joke and we eat. And it's interesting because both in the Italian and Black culture, if there are people within the family that aren't getting along, if the big mama or the nonna says that she's having dinner or a meal, everybody sits around that table. And whatever differences are left at the door, and we sit down and we eat. And we connect over food. But the real big mama is Pachamama. Mother Earth is calling to all of us to come and sit at a table together and eat. To bring all of our food, to bring all of our gifts, to bring all of our pain and suffering, and to bring all of our magic. Because every culture has something to contribute that's beautiful. Every culture. And we need to sit at the table together, and we need to eat and thrive off the beautiful planet Earth, and use our mind and evolve as humanity. We don't have to think alike. We don't have to look alike. We don't have to be alike to love alike. You know, I look at the pain in some of these videos, and I know what pain looks like. I don't know that pain. I never firsthand experienced it, but I know what pain looks like. And it hurts me here because another human is going through that. And if you just turn a blind eye to that, and you don't feel what it feels like when something's unjust and just not right, you need to wake up. We have to wake up. There's so many things going on in the world that are just not okay anymore. And we're living at a time where we're ready for change. You know, it's been 6 or 7 years now. I came across a lineage within the North American Mystery School, and that lineage was the lineage of King Solomon. And one of the things I love most is that King Solomon had the vision of world peace. And he brought together people of all the cultures, all traditions, all the tribes to come and share their teachings and their techniques and their healings and their practices, to come and study together, because he knew that we needed to unite and bring all of that together in order to support the evolution of humanity. And now this lineage is over 3,000 years old, and I just think, I cannot believe that people 3,000 years ago were thinking about us today. 3,000 years ago, they knew that evolution wasn't going to happen until now. They knew, they planned it out. It was all lined up. They had to do X, Y, Z in order for these things to unfold, you know? And I just think 3,000 years ago, people were thinking about you and thinking about me and thinking about our well-being and our evolution. And now, in a world today, we can't even think long enough to hold the door behind us for the next person coming through. We can't even think that another human being is similar to us because they have a different language or a different color of skin, or they come from a different place. What's wrong with the picture? You cut through the skin and we all bleed red, but we don't need to cut to see that. We don't. We are all human beings. Human is one race. It's one race. In the lineage of King Solomon, we teach this class called 12 Races, and you learn about 12 races, and human is just one of them. And we look at our colors and different shapes and sizes, and we think we're all different. Of course we're all different. It's okay. You imagine going to the grocery store and there only being one type of food to eat, one cereal, one spice to use. We are meant to come together and sit at the table of earth to bring all of the magic, all of the perspectives, all of the wisdom, all of the beauty from each culture and solve these major issues. This is an uproar because it needs to be an uproar. This stuff needs to surface in order for it to heal. So I hope that the Black community can find it in their hearts to forgive us for separating ourselves. And I hope that every culture that resonates with the pain that they feel will forgive and find space in their heart for healing. And I hope that everyone else who's standing by, what do I do? What do I say? Do I post? Do I not post? You think a post is going to change this? Come on. You think you put up a picture or you make a donation, it's going to change things? This is a decision you have to make now, that this stops with you. It stops with you. I was raised in a family, they didn't know any better. My grandfather came off both my families came from the boat. My grandfather tells the story that he was working on the bricks in this one house, and it was a scorching hot day, and he was filling up his water bottle with the hose, or not a water bottle, but a container with the hose, and the lady who owned the house shut off the water so he couldn't drink water. And he tells this story with such pain, and bewilderment. How could you take a basic need from someone? How could you do that? But that story is a story, a memory of something that happened years ago. The fact that people are still experiencing this now within their culture, within their race, within their color, whatever you want to call it, it's not okay. It is not okay. We need to take care of each other. Because right now, the fire is burning around racism. But it's not the only problem that we need to sit around the table and talk about. There's issues with children, issues with women, issues with sexuality, issues with governments and politics and spirituality. There's so many issues that we can look at, but we need to start looking at them. We need to talk about them from here. And we have to let go of the expectation that we're all going to agree and that we all have to think the same. We all have to look the same. It has to be like, no. We need to bring all the colors together, all the spices, all the food, all of the magic. We got to bring it all together so that we can come together as humanity once and for all, with a huge heart of love for humanity and compassion to my brothers and sisters in the States, my family, my soul family. I pray, I send light, and I hold it in my heart's intentions that we will get this in my generation, that I will be talking to my grandkids like, you'll never believe what it used to be like. Let's decide now, as individuals, that it stops here, that we choose to do things differently. Much love.